September 1, 1939, Germany invades Poland, marking the start of the war. On this date, Germany launched a surprise attack on Poland, which was quickly overrun by German forces. This invasion was the trigger that led Britain and France to declare war on Germany. September 3, 1939, Britain and France declare war on Germany. In response to Germany's invasion of Poland, Britain and France declared war on Germany. This marked the beginning of a global conflict that would last for 6 years. May 10, 1940, Germany invades France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. In a swift and daring move, German forces launched a coordinated attack on several countries in Western Europe. The blitzkrieg tactics used by the Germans proved highly effective, and they quickly conquered much of the region. May 26 to June 4, 1940, the evacuation of British and Allied troops from Dunkirk. With the German army advancing rapidly, British and Allied troops were trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk. In an incredible feat of logistics, over 330,000 troops were evacuated by a fleet of boats, ships, and other vessels. June 10, 1940, Italy enters the war on the side of the Axis powers. Italy, which had been led by fascist dictator Benito Mussolini since 1922, entered the war on the side of Germany and Japan. This increased the power and scope of the Axis powers and added another front to the war. June 22, 1941, Germany invades the Soviet Union. In a massive and brutal attack, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, a surprise invasion of the Soviet Union. This began a long and bloody conflict on the Eastern Front that would continue until the end of the war. December 7, 1941, Japan launches a surprise attack on the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, bringing the U.S. into the war. In a devastating attack, Japanese forces bombed and destroyed much of the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. This attack prompted the United States to declare war on Japan and join the Allied effort. February 2, 1943, German forces surrender at Stalingrad, marking a turning point in the war in the East. After a long and brutal siege, German forces surrendered to the Soviet Red Army at the city of Stalingrad. This was a major defeat for the Germans and marked a turning point in the war in the East. June 4 to 7, 1942, the Battle of Midway marks a turning point in the war in the Pacific. In a decisive battle, U.S. forces defeated the Japanese Navy and gained the upper hand in the Pacific theater. This battle is often considered a turning point in the war in the Pacific. November 8, 1942, the Allies invade North Africa in Operation Torch. In a coordinated effort, Allied forces launched an invasion of North Africa, with the goal of securing the region and preparing for an eventual invasion of Europe. July 10, 1943, the Allies invade Sicily in Operation Husky. In another major invasion, Allied forces landed on the island of Sicily and fought to secure it from German and Italian forces. July 25 to August 3, 1943, the Allies meet at the Tehran Conference to coordinate their war efforts. In a high-level meeting, the leaders of the Allied powers met in Tehran to discuss strategy and coordinate their war efforts. This meeting is notable for being the first time that U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin met together in person. June 6, 1944, the Allied invasion of Normandy, also known as D-Day. In the largest seaborne invasion in history, Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy in northern France. The invasion involved more than 156,000 troops and marked a major turning point in the war in Europe. August 25, 1944, Paris is liberated by Allied forces. After months of fighting, Allied forces liberated the city of Paris from German occupation. This was a major symbolic victory for the Allies and a sign that the war in Europe was coming to an end. April 30, 1945, Adolf Hitler commits suicide in his bunker in Berlin. As Allied forces closed in on the German capital, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. This was a major turning point in the war and marked the end of Hitler's reign of terror. May 8, 1945, Germany surrenders unconditionally to the Allies, ending the war in Europe. In a formal ceremony, Germany surrendered to the Allied powers, ending the war in Europe. This day is celebrated as Victory in Europe Day, VE Day. August 6 and 9, 1945, the United States drops atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In a controversial move, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing tens of thousands of people and causing widespread devastation. This marked the first and only use of nuclear weapons in warfare. August 15, 1945, Japan surrenders unconditionally to the Allies, ending the war. After months of fighting, Japan finally surrendered to the Allied powers. This marked the end of World War II and is celebrated as Victory over Japan Day, VJ Day. Overall, the events of World War II were complex and had far-reaching consequences that continue to shape our world today. Each of these events played a crucial role in the outcome of the war and helped to shape the course of history.